What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my yearly starting quarterback rankings, this time for the 2023-2024 season. This one, honestly, I'm not going to lie, gave me the most trouble. I feel like this year, more than any, I'll be quite honest with you, between the bottom three tiers and the top three tiers, there's so much disparagement. I feel like once you get to like number 16, really like the top half and the bottom half are just so different. It was really, really tough to decide who was going to be past like number 21. It was really tough because you could make an argument that some guys deserve to be in the teens, some guys deserve to be a little higher. So this one, I guess, would be a little bit more controversial than any of the other ones I've done. But without further delay, I think we should just get into it. But before we get into it, if you enjoyed the video today and you enjoy football content, NFL draft content, I will be doing that year round as I always do. Please leave a like, please leave a comment, please subscribe to the channel if you are new. And without further ado, I think we should get into it. So right off the bat, I'm going to eliminate 6 quarterbacks right off the bat. So I don't really count these rankings until like number 26. And I'll tell you why. It's because obviously CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young right off the bat, those guys are rookies. Those guys don't count in rookie rankings because we haven't seen them take an NFL snap yet. Then the next 3 guys that I did rank them in the order that I think in their first year they're going to be. If Anthony Richardson plays, I do think that he will be better slightly than CJ Stroud. I think Stroud is awesome. I think he has the lowest ceiling out of the 3 though. And then I think Bryce Young will be the best right away. And then maybe his ceiling is a little bit lower. AR-15 obviously has the highest ceiling on all of them between the size, speed, athleticism, crazy arm. He's got the biggest ceiling. He just has to put it all together. Then I'm going to eliminate another 3 guys here, and that's going to be Desmond Ridder, that's going to be Sam Howell, and that's going to be, where is he? That's going to be Jordan Love. These guys are just guys that we haven't seen enough yet to really, really rank. I do feel like, though, if I was going to start the rankings with someone I've seen more often than not, I would probably put Desmond Ridder as the last ranked starting quarterback from last year, at least, only because we didn't really see too much of him, and we didn't really see that great of play from him, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So these 6 guys are really guys that I'm not really ranking up until now. They're kind of just there. So they don't really count. I guess you can count the other 3 as rookies too, because Jordan Love, it's like his 4th year in the league, but he's actually going to start playing now. From what we've seen from Jordan Love, actually, I don't hate it. I think that he's actually going to be a very, very good NFL quarterback. I don't know if he'll be Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he'll be Brett Favre, but I think he's going to be in Green Bay for a long time. I think he'll do well for them. Same thing with Sam Howell. I honestly think that he's going to be the quarterback, unless Washington is like hell-bent on trading up for Caleb Williams or Drake May. I feel like Sam Howell will do enough to be the quarterback for at least the longer term future. So moving on to the real rankings now, I guess. At number 26, I got to go with the presumed starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was going to say Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, and that is going to be Baker Mayfield. If I could find him over here. I can't find him for some reason. I feel like this is so unfair for Baker because he's had such a topsy-turvy career. One year he's Dr. Jekyll, the other one he's Mr. Hyde. I mean, he had a good rookie year, not a great second year, a great third year, a bad 4th year, and I feel like last year with the Rams, that's where things really looked up. He wasn't great with Carolina, but he's also coming off of a major shoulder injury as well. It took him a little time. I think he looked really decent with the Rams. He definitely looked like an NFL starting caliber quarterback. So I'm going to leave him as the last, really kind of the last ranked quarterback, only because I don't really know exactly what we're going to see from him in Tampa Bay. It's a bad situation. Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask are really duking it out for the duking, and I mean that in more ways than one. They're duking it out for the starting quarterback spot. It's just not really a great situation. Then moving on to the next tier, we have 25 through 21. And at number 25, I'm going to go with Mac Jones. Another guy that's just like way too topsy-turvy for me. And I feel like this is his last chance. I feel like this year, even if it's a bad start, maybe the first 2 or 3 games, I feel like Bailey Zappi is just waiting. We've seen Mac Jones been benched a couple times already for Bailey Zappi, and I don't know. I think we've just seen he had a pretty decent rookie year. I think that was it. I think his rookie year was the most we'll ever see out of Mac Jones. I mean, yeah, sure, he'll have a good game here and there, but he's not going to wow you with his arm. He's not going to wow you with his mobility, his playmaking ability, or his clutchness. He's just a a quarterback is the way that I would describe Mac Jones. Like, would I be surprised if he threw for 100 yards and 4 interceptions? No. Would I be surprised if he threw for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns? No. He's just a guy that's kind of like whatever. So I don't really think that he will be. I don't think he'll be a starter, honestly, past this year. I really do not think that, at least in New England. So then after that, I have Ryan Tannehill. Last year was really the beginning of the end for Tannehill. After somewhat of a career resurgence in the beginning part of his time in Tennessee, he looked like a really decent starting quarterback. But after last year, he's also battling injuries as well, getting older. They drafted Malik Willis last year. He didn't take too kindly to that. I'm guaranteeing that he didn't take too kindly to them drafting Will Levis this year either. It's just he doesn't inspire me at all. He's just a very blah quarterback to me. Kind of the same deal as Mac Jones. He could throw for 4 picks. He could throw for 3 touchdowns and be really, really good. There's just no in between with Ryan Tannehill. And at this point in his career, in a run-first offense, he just doesn't really do anything for me for the Tennessee Titans. Then after that, I have Jimmy Garoppolo. Same deal. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is great for like 6 games out of the year, and then he gets hurt and he's on IR for the rest of the season. A full season of Jimmy Garoppolo is something that we haven't really seen. He is a good game manager. He had, like I said, kind of with the other 2 guys. This is like that middling part of the quarterback rankings where it's like you got guys that are decent game managers, but they're not really, I'm not confident relying on them to win the game with their arm. Jimmy Garoppolo, wherever he goes, he just knows how to win. I think the buck stops here for him in Las Vegas. I mean, the offense looks decent. Obviously, he has Devontae Adams. You know, they got Jacoby Myers as well. The offensive line is whatever. The defense really isn't that good. I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy that's going to be putting up 30-plus points a game to where the Raiders can hold these offenses in the AFC West and the AFC in general to where he's going to produce a winning season. So Garoppolo's kind of in that spot for me too. He's just like a perfect game manager. Then I have Kenny Pickett, and I really don't want to put Kenny Pickett this low because even though his stats, if you look at his stats, completely uninspiring. I think it was like 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. But the guy had, I think it was 3 fourth-quarter comebacks and like 4 game-winning drives or something like that. I might have those numbers flip-flop, but there's definitely something there with Kenny Pickett. I just think that we haven't seen him maximize his potential. We've seen him be clutch, and that's a really, really big factor for me as a quarterback. He is clutch, and it's funny when you see where I have Kirk Cousins ranked, you're going to say, really, clutchness is really important for you? But Kenny Pickett right here, at number 22 kind of seems right now. I think there's a massive room for improvement where maybe this time next year when I do these rankings, we could see him in the top 15. But at the same time, the numbers weren't really inspiring, but I saw good things. I'm really, really hopeful for this year. They built up the offensive line even more. He's got some more weapons now. I think George Pickens is going to break out this year with him. So I think it's going to be a really, really good year for Kenny Pickett. And then at number 21, I have Justin Fields. A lot of people are going to hate this ranking, and I'm sorry, but I mean, Justin Fields, great athlete, absolutely. Great running ability, absolutely. But he just hasn't progressed as a passer. I know a lot of people, especially Bears fans that are going to watch this video, are going to say, oh, well, he's got a great roster this year. You know, Ryan Poles, in Poles we trust. They built around him. That's true. Let's see him perform with that team around him, though. Through 2 years, I mean, what has he shown? I know some people are going to say, after week 7 last year, he had the 4th best quarterback rating in the NFL. Quarterback rating is a very, very flawed stat. If you're a team that plays from behind a lot, QBR uses yards, completions, and touchdowns in the 4th quarter. They weigh way more significantly than the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd quarter. So, sure, if you're Chicago and you're consistently playing from 2 scores behind or a score behind, yeah, you're going to get those completions and those yards, especially in garbage time. So that stat is definitely a little bit flawed. But I think I need to see Justin Fields grow more. I need to see him develop more as a passer. I think Chicago has their franchise quarterback. They've invested a lot around him, trading the number 1 overall pick, getting DJ Moore, getting these offensive line pieces as well, drafting Darnell Wright. They're investing in Justin Fields. He needs to start returning the favor a little bit, and he needs to develop a little bit more as a passer for me to rank him above where he is right now. So getting into the top 20 here, at number 20, I have Brock Purdy. I know that this is not a picture of Brock Purdy. For some reason, it's a picture of Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. I can tell you right now, if it was Trey Lance, he would not be higher than all of these guys. But Brock Purdy at number 20, I know what you're going to say. Oh, last pick, he's a system guy. But you know what? He performs really, really well in that system. He's come back in camp. He's looked phenomenal in camp from what I've seen, from what a lot of people are reporting. He's growing an amazing rapport with that wide receiving room as well. I think Brock Purdy is in the best situation he could possibly be for his skill set. So I think he's going to bring the Niners to another 12 or 13 win season, and they're going to make the playoffs again under Brock Purdy. I think we could say that pretty confidently. At number 19, I have Deshaun Watson. I know a lot of people this might be really low for Deshaun Watson, but let's not forget that Deshaun Watson essentially hasn't really played football in 2+ years. And what we saw from him from the 6 games last year was not very good. Is that rust? I'm hoping it is. The Browns are hoping that is. Kevin Stefanski is hoping that it's rust as well, because if it's not, he's gone. The front office is in a world of trouble, and Deshaun Watson is going to be a very, very rich man off of some mediocre quarterback play. But I'm sorry, I can't rank him any higher than this. I do have more confidence in Deshaun Watson than pretty much everyone else on this list up until this point, but not anyone further. So Deshaun Watson for me is going to stay at 19. At number 18, I have Matthew Stafford, another guy that has shown a lot of decline, but based off of his gunslinger mentality and the fact that he still has probably one of the top 5 arms in football, I'm going to rank him here at 18. Like I said, coming off of an injury, I think he only played 9 games last year. This might be it for him, honestly. He had a couple scary injuries last year, the neck injury. He contemplated retirement then. I feel like if he has another mediocre season or if he gets injured, this is probably going to be it for Matthew Stafford. Essentially has nothing else to prove. He led the Rams to a Super Bowl win. Probably bought his ticket to Canton. Honestly, that's a debatable argument for sure. But with the 50,000+ passing yards and the Super Bowl ring, he has a good case for it. But yeah, this is as far as I could probably put Matthew Stafford right now. There's just a lot of guys that have developed over the last year plus that have definitely passed by the Matthew Staffords of the world. Then after that, I have Russell Wilson. I'm going to give Russell Wilson the benefit of the doubt. I really wanted to put him in the top half, but I couldn't. Russell Wilson went from being an elite quarterback 2 years ago to last year looking like he was washed already. I mean, I've never seen a decline like that from one year to another. That was insane. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that was due to Nathaniel Hackett's system and the fact that he was just not comfortable playing with the guys in Denver. He also didn't have a great offensive line. The Denver Broncos invested heavily in the offensive line this year. They gave Mike McGlinchey a huge contract. So I think the line will be a little bit better. It's unfortunate that they lost Tim Patrick again. That's a super solid option to have. So Marvin Mims is probably going to step up. Greg Dulcich, guys like that are going to have to step up and be big parts of the Sean Payton offense. But I'm hoping and expecting for good things for Russell Wilson and the Broncos. If he lets us down again, he's probably washed at that point. Then closing out the bottom half of the quarterback ranking here, I have Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr did not have a good year last year, but his numbers were still pretty good. 24 touchdowns, 14 picks. I believe it was under 4,000 yards, but he also missed a few games, got benched at the end of the season as well, essentially ending his time in Las Vegas. But he's still more than serviceable. He's going to be behind a better offensive line. He's going to have – it's tough to say that the New Orleans Saints have better weapons than the Raiders did for him, but I think they have good weapons. If Michael Thomas can come back and play an actual season, Chris Olave, guys like that, I think he's going to be really, really good in New Orleans. So he closes out the first half of the quarterback rankings, going into the top 15, the top half now. At number 15, I have Geno Smith. Now, this was the hardest line for me. This one was really, really tough because this is before you're considering these guys being top 10 quarterbacks. It was really, really tough for me here. But at 15, I'm going to have to put Geno Smith. I mean, I think that's great, considering the fact if you go back and look at my rankings from last year, I'm pretty sure Geno Smith was like 30th. Now, I am not the end-all, be-all by any means, of course, but jumping up 15 spots in a quarterback ranking in 1 year is huge. Geno Smith showed the ability to just be incredible for the Seattle Seahawks last year, and his offense only got stronger. It's another year underneath the belt of Abraham Lucas and Charles Wright. They added Jackson Smith-Njigba as well. I mean, they are going to have an amazing offense. If Geno Smith could play the same level, I feel like his numbers will be even better this upcoming year. They finally have that defiant third option in that offense. But I can't really rank him any higher than this, in my opinion. I think based off of 1 year of really, really good production, it's kind of tough. Same thing with Daniel Jones, who is next for me here at number 14. Daniel Jones got paid like a top 6 quarterback or a top 5 quarterback. He's definitely not there. I know 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions are not inspiring, but if you saw what he was throwing to last year, it was not good. They added Jalen Hyatt. They signed Paris Campbell. They re-signed Darius Slayton. And they traded for Darren Waller. So better options for him this year. They also invested a little bit more in the offensive line. He still has 2 great young tackles, in Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal. I think it's all going to come together. Saquon is happy, at least for this year. It's all going to come together. And I think Daniel Jones is going to have the best year of his career, or at least he should hope so, because he's getting paid like an elite quarterback. Then after that, I have Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's tough for me to rank because there are some games where he looks like an elite quarterback and some look like he can't even be bothered what he's doing. I know he's going to start the year injured. He's probably not going to play until the second half of the year. That doesn't really matter to me. Who's going to start for them? Colt McCoy, Clayton Tune, one of those guys. But I'm going to keep Kyler Murray in here for this one. And I think this is a really good spot for him because on his day, he could potentially be a top 9 quarterback in the NFL. And then this is like a perfect basement for him. I feel like his playmaking ability and his just ability overall is better than almost everyone that's on this list up until this point, but he just has to put it together on a more consistent basis. I mean, if you look at his numbers, nothing ever screams out elite on his numbers, but he's an elite playmaker. He's an elite play extender. So I think that if he comes back and he plays healthy and stays healthy rather, I think he's going to play really, really well for that really bad Arizona Cardinals team. After that, I have Tua Tagovailoa. Tua had some of the best numbers in the NFL last year before he got injured. I mean, it's tough not to have really good numbers when you have Cedric Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. You have to feel like this offense got even better. If Tua can stay healthy, it looks like he's added a little bit of weight, a little bit of muscle. If he stays healthy, I think that he was going to have this is going to be crazy to say, but he was on pace to really have one of the best seasons that a Dolphins quarterback has ever had last year before he got injured and derailed so many times. I think if he could stay healthy, I think that he's going to be really, really good in that offense, and I think he's going to make a case for a top 10 quarterback next year if he stays healthy. Then just missing out on the top 10 for me is Dak Prescott. Now, the top 12, the top half in general is just really, really tough to rank. But for me, Dak Prescott is just that guy. I mean, last year playing in 12 games, leading the league in interceptions, that was a big one for me. If he would have thrown a little bit less interceptions in the 12 games that he played, he probably would have squeaked into the top 10 for me. But I don't know, Dak is a really, really overhated quarterback, I will say. I think this is a perfect ranking for him. I think on his day, he's a top 10 quarterback. And then sometimes he makes a lot of boneheaded plays that make me think that he's a bottom half quarterback. I think this is a perfect tier to rank him in. You can make an argument for really any place for him here. And I was really, really considering putting him at 10 or 9, but I just wasn't really comfortable with the final rankings being like that. So Prescott is just going to miss out on the top 10. But I think if he bounces back after, he was injured last year, he had a subpar season. I think it was 20, if I'm thinking off the top of my head correctly, I think it was 24 or 25 touchdowns and 15 picks. Not really inspiring stuff, but who knows? Maybe he wasn't fully healthy. He's going to be fully healthy going into this year. I expect big things from Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys this year. Now moving into the top 10. Maybe unpopular, but honestly, he's been excellent. And that's Jared Goff for me at number 10. There's no way that you can convince me that Jared Goff doesn't deserve, after last year's performance, a top 10 ranking as a quarterback in the NFL. The dude was just money all year. I think he threw 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, had a great quarterback rating. He threw for a lot of yards too, and he kept the Detroit Lions in a lot of those games. If you take away his worst performance, which was against the New England Patriots last year, where I think he threw no touchdowns and 4 interceptions, he had an unbelievable year. I could be wrong about that, by the way, but I think it was something close to that. He was unbelievable, and I think that as he grows with Amon-Ra St. Brown, it really sucks that Jameson Williams is going to be suspended. I would love to see him play a full season with Jameson Williams. They drafted Sam Laporta, who I think is going to be really, really good. I think he is right away a safety blanket for him that he didn't really have last year after they traded TJ Hawkinson. Brock Wright was whatever, but this offensive line, this unit is still really, really good. He's going to have Jahmyr Gibbs as well. I think this is going to be a really fantastic year for Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. Moving on to number 9, it's Trevor Lawrence for me. I really wanted to put him at 8. I couldn't really justify him over Kirk Cousins, though. But Trevor Lawrence made an absolutely massive step last year in his second season in the NFL. After looking relatively lost his rookie year, a lot of people were worried that Trevor Lawrence was going to slide down and just be a bust right away after a couple years. But he really proved everyone wrong. He took the Jacksonville Jaguars to a playoff game. He won a playoff game with one of the biggest comebacks in playoff history as well. He had a fantastic season overall. At Trevor Lawrence, I expect huge things from the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence this year. I wouldn't be shocked if Trevor Lawrence is an MVP candidate by the end of the year. If he could take another step forward, if we're looking at a 40-touchdown season, they added Calvin Ridley. They got a really nice backup running back in Tank Bigsby as well. Brenton Strange, you add to a tight end room that has Evan Ingram now as well. They got a really nice offense here. And I think if Trevor Lawrence could take just another step forward, we're looking at a 40-touchdown, 4,500-yard season from him, absolutely. So moving on to number 8, and for me, that's Kirk Chains, man. I think Kirk Cousins is the most disrespected quarterback in the NFL, maybe up there with Lamar Jackson. But Kirk Cousins put in probably his worst season of the last 5 years last year, and it was still a good season. You know, I know that they lost to the Giants in the playoffs. It is what it is. But I think now adding another fold to that offense with Jordan Addison. Now you got KJ Osborne, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. You have, in my opinion, the best the best wide receiver in the NFL in Justin Jefferson. You had, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne. Alexander Madison is going to be a starter this year. I think it's going to be a really good offense. The defense is whatever. I think the defense is going to surprise a lot of people this year, but I think people are overestimating the Detroit Lions and underestimating the Minnesota Vikings. I've seen so many people have the Minnesota Vikings as the second or third best team in the NFC North. I just can't see it. They didn't get that much worse to me where I'd say, yeah, they're going to be 4 games worse than they were last year. I think they're going to be just fine. I think Kirk Cousins is going to put in another fantastic season. Then at number 7, I have my guy, Aaron Rodgers, the new quarterback of my New York Jets. Last year was his, I guess you could say, his worst season since his rookie year or his sophomore year. It is what it is. People think that he fell off already. I know he's going to be, he is 39, I believe, right now. People say he fell off. He still had a decent year last year. Didn't really have great weapons, and he's coming off of a year removed from back-to-back MVPs. I still think this guy is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and this is not me being completely biased because he's on the New York Jets right now. Haven't seen him take a snap in a regular season game in a Jets uniform. I'm not that over, dramatic, but I still think he's got plenty left in the tank, and I think that he takes the New York Jets to the playoffs this year. The Jets have a really good young roster. He's got a lot of weapons on offense, and I think that the Jets are going to be really good with Aaron Rodgers under center. Then, just missing out on the top 5 for me is Lamar Jackson. Maybe the only thing that the only reason why he misses out is because the last couple of years he's missed the end of the season. That has been detrimental to the Baltimore Ravens. They haven't gone past, they missed the playoffs 2 years ago, and they lost in the first round last year because Lamar Jackson wasn't there. He's that much of a difference maker that I think that they easily make the playoffs 2 years ago, and they win. And that was a close game with Tyler Huntley and Anthony Brown as the quarterbacks. Can you imagine with Lamar Jackson against Cincinnati? I think they upset Cincinnati last year, but Lamar Jackson, he's paid, he's motivated. I think that he's going to get back to his best football this year, and he's going to make a claim yet again for an MVP finalist. Getting into the top 5 here, Justin Herbert. I know a lot of people say Justin Herbert's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. I kind of tend to agree with a lot of people on that, but it's just the overall talent. And I mean, the throws that we've seen him make, he has to win a playoff game this year. For him to stay in the top 5 for me, he has to take a leap forward. They have to do something shocking. They have to make the AFC Championship game or beat out the Chiefs for the AFC West, something like that. He needs to take a step up for me to consider him to be as good as these 4 guys that are on the bottom. I mean, some people have him over Josh Allen. I think that is absolutely mental at this point. And speaking of Josh Allen, he's here at number 4. I know he takes a step back for me last year. I believe I had him at number 2 or number 3. But Josh Allen last year really ran into some turnover problems. He did cost the Bills a few. He definitely cost them the game against the Minnesota Vikings. And he just countless drive killers with his turnovers. He a ton of turnover-worthy plays last year. He's got to clean it up and get back to his best football. We know that Josh Allen is a perennial MVP candidate when he plays clean football. He's got the talent. I think he just needs to relax a little bit more this year and play within himself, and I think he's going to be fine. He also had, that elbow injury or something like that last year, so if he's playing fully healthy, he's going to get back to his best football. And number 3, you got Jalen Hurts. The guy just was incredible last year. I mean, there's no way about it. Yeah, sure, he plays in a catered offensive system. Listen, the reason why these guys stay in their cities for the most part with these coaches is because they are catered to in the offense. So I think that's something that we should throw out the window there. They're not going to bring in a quarterback that they can't cater the offense to. That goes with all these guys, with Herbert, with Allen, Lawrence, Aaron Rodgers. They brought in Nathaniel Hackett. You know what I'm saying? They're going to cater the offense around the quarterback. And Jalen Hurts was absolutely money last year. I expect him with a better looking offense for the most part. Maybe the offensive line lost a touch. I still think they're the best unit in the NFL. I think he's just right back to how good he was last year. I don't think there's any way, shape, or form that he's not. And then Joe Burrow at number 2, pretty easy. A lot of people say, "Oh, Burrow's overrated because the wide receiving room that he has." Be that as it may, he still puts up incredible numbers with that wide receiving room, and he's really just missing a Super Bowl win to be one of the most successful young quarterbacks in the first 3 seasons. Joe Burrow is money. He's going to come back healthy from this injury, and I think the Bengals will do it this year. I think he's hungry. I think he's going to get back to the Super Bowl, and I think the Bengals could do it this year. And then at number 1, of course, no one's going to dethrone this guy for quite some time, to be quite honest with you. It's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we had discussions last year how, Patrick Mahomes isn't going to be the same because he lost Tyreek Hill. And he was, honestly, it seemed like he was even better. The guy is just, personally, the guy is the most talented quarterback in NFL history, in my opinion. I think the only 2 guys that rival him in terms of talent are Aaron Rodgers and Dan Marino. The guy is just sensational. His athleticism, his arm strength, his, everything that he does, he's just incredible. And I don't think that there's any way that you could even make a claim that anyone else is better than Patrick Mahomes in the NFL. Case closed there. So there you have it. There is my 2023-24 quarterback rankings for the NFL season. I'm super excited to, get all this content out to you guys. This is one of my favorite videos to do every single year, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know what you would change. Let me know if you like the list. Please like, please comment, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.